Hello and welcome back to Picks and Portraits. Today we're going to be continuing our journey into the animated futures of the past with a look at retrofuturism in anime. Now, a lot of what we've seen so far in the series grew out of the optimistic futurism of America between the late 1930s and 50s. It's a comfortable, convenient future, but we won't be seeing a lot of that this time. These visions are rooted in the 70s and 80s cyberpunk aesthetic and portray a much more dystopian and, dare I say, familiar tomorrow. Now, why might that be? I think the war certainly played a part in it. America could dream brighter with its victory, and obviously the trauma experienced by Japan was not easily forgotten. Many anime feature a Neo or New Tokyo to replace the old one. I'm sure many working on or viewing these anime remember the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and saw these cities rebuilt firsthand. So this was a realistic possibility. Another contributing factor is technology. Japan was on the forefront of innovation during this time, and their futures show it. Developments are sleek and take a much more logical approach in predicting what will be, rather than the absurd and cartoony ones seen in American media. Japan also seems a lot less naive in their predictions. We see a lot of corrupt governments and corporations, which is painfully relevant. Granted, they were produced in a different time and climate. Some of these have come true, some of these dates have come to pass, but the jury is still out on one of them, as we are going to be a little more liberal with the term and include futuristic depictions from the past set in the near future from here in 2020. So let's get the big one out of the way first. Akira. Now, I can't say anything about this that hasn't already been said. Produced in 1988, this was a watershed moment, not only for anime, but for animation, or even film as a whole. Akira was directed by Katsuhiro Otomo, who also wrote the source manga, and is set in Neo-Tokyo, rebuilt after a nuclear-like explosion destroyed the original. It presented a dystopian 2019, where terrorism and corruption are rampant. We see roaming motorcycle gangs, mass protests and anti-government demonstrations, and military experiments that give the subjects telekinetic abilities. The story revolves around one of these, the Akira Project, that resulted in Tokyo's destruction, and has since been cryogenically frozen to prevent further incidences. That is until Tetsuyo, a young biker or member of a motorcycle gang, begins to develop similar powers, and his thirst for more finds him seeking out Akira, which in turn threatens the existence of Neo-Tokyo. Sci-fi elements aside, among Akira's predictions was a Third World War, which hasn't officially happened yet, but the way this year is going, as well as civil unrest and widespread unemployment. It also, with Simpsons-level clairvoyance, predicted Japan's hosting the Olympics in 2020, as well as the calls to possibly cancel it. Weird. Again, nothing I can really add, just an incredibly important film. So with that covered, let's move on to the oldest future we're going to be looking at, Techno Police 21C. Produced in 1982, this is set in 2001 and follows the advanced police squad of Sentinel City and their attempts to recover a stolen tank. In terms of innovation, we have the Technoids, subservient robots that do the police's bidding. There is also an adorable techno dog, video calls, helicopter planes, and the self-driving, self-destructing tank. There are some robo-ethical issues brought up. The tank is self-aware, and what's interesting about this, compared to some of the other ones we're going to be looking at, is that there is skepticism. The main character is brought in from a small town and doesn't immediately trust the Technoids or really understand them. The others feature very lived-in worlds, used to the technological advances. The dub I watched was apparently produced in Hong Kong by many who appeared in the localization of 70s Kung Fu films. It was awful, very difficult to watch. It was, however, scored by Joe Hisaishi, who worked on several Miyazaki movies and paved the way for our next series, Bubblegum Crisis. Techno Police had began as a potential series with Toshimichi Suzuki at the helm, but after many setbacks, it was abandoned and the footage is compiled into the movie you're seeing. Suzuki intended to remake Techno Police in his original vision, but a meeting with producer Junji Fujita led to the creation instead of Bubblegum Crisis, an 8-part OVA, or original video animation. Japan was much quicker to embrace home video, and rather than airing on television, some anime was released direct to video. Partially inspired by Blade Runner and Streets of Fire, an excellent film by Walter Hill, Bubblegum Crisis takes place in 2032-33 Mega Tokyo in the aftermath of the Second Great Kanto earthquake. Wealth inequality is high, with corporations ruling the world, particularly the monolithic megacorporation Genome. Genome's main product are cybernetic humanoids known as boomers, which are intended to serve humans, but occasionally they go rogue or are programmed to be evil. When this happens, the vigilante group the Night Sabers is called to action. The group is comprised of 4 young women who don exoskeleton hardsuits to battle Genome, all while moonlighting as rock stars or lingerie salespeople. While it does predate Akira, it presents a similar, arguably better, even if slightly future. We see a futuristic Tokyo, high-tech bikes, and government and corporate corruption. This has quickly become one of my favorite anime. It's aesthetically pleasing, the animation is great, and it has an awesome soundtrack by Koji Mikano. We still have a few years to go here, but we can only hope that our 2033 is as stylish as this. Can't recommend it enough. In 2008, a series of nuclear attacks between the United States and Russia causes the Earth to spin off its axis. Many natural disasters occur, with the planet taking back what's its as its continents sink into its oceans. People attempt to flee, but one of the rockets containing them falls from space, but lands safely and settles on an island. It is here where future Boy Conan is born. This series first aired in 1978 and was the directorial debut of Hayao Miyazaki, which I guess is notable. Its post-apocalyptic vision is one of natural beauty. There are plenty of underwater scenes with the ruins of skyscrapers and other artifacts from the old world. It also features an interesting blend of these old and new aesthetics. There are spaceships and ancient architecture, and it addresses the fears and responsibilities associated with nuclear energy. It predicted the Cold War would continue into the 21st century, which is debatable actually, as well as casual space travel. I didn't watch all of it, but enjoyed what I saw, and apparently it has a huge Arab following, so the more you know. And last but not least, we have future GPX Cyber Formula. This premiered in 1991 and forecast the future of Formula One racing in 2015. It was produced by Sunrise and directed by Mitsuo Fukuda, who some of you may know from his work on Gundam Seed. Now, compared to the other series we're looking at, Cyber Formula is very much grounded and realistic in its predictions. Obviously features some futuristic cars whose designs are in line with the prototypical cars of the day, but predicts these cars will have advanced AI known as cyber systems built in that optimize the vehicle's performance. The show revolves around the relationship between 14-year-old driver Hayato Kazami and his unique cyber system Asurata, designed by his father to be the best in the world. It is capable of communicating with its driver and is in tune with their emotions and can make driving decisions based on these. Again, with its approach to the future, many of the predictions came true. We have onboard GPS systems, touchscreens, and even iris recognition. So this one has probably aged the best. Now, this was a difficult list to put together, as I am not super into anime, so feel free to make suggestions down below. Please subscribe if you are new here, and if you're looking for more retrofuturistic content, there is a recent sleepcore, Back to the Retro Future. There are also other entries in the series, and over on Patreon, we have a fun collection of examples of retrofuturism and advertising coming up. $5 a month gets you access to that and dozens of other exclusive videos, so please consider supporting us. As always, thank you so much for watching. This future we live in sucks, so try to stay safe out there.